Okay, Eli. NBA awards last night. We finally got the answer to all these questions. Some of them were surprising, some of them were not. But big question for me: did James Harden get robbed, or was this the right decision? Giannis is the most valuable player in the NBA.
There's two sides to each of the stories. Personally, I'm gonna state it out there right away. I'm saying Harden was robbed. I think he was robbed. What do you think?
I think he was definitely robbed, and I don't have the. We'll get into the reasons why, but Harden was superhuman at times this last year. We watched some Rockets games, maybe not all of them, but every day you'd be flipping on SportsCenter, you'd see the ticker go by, and you just go, oh man, 42 again. Oh, he's got 48 tonight. Oh, he just hit 11 threes. Just over and over. But yeah, continue. It sounds like we're in agreement. I think that this was, far and away his best individual performing year. He went on one of the most ridiculous stretches, that I think we've seen in terms of individual performance offensively.
Yep.
And I definitely think he was robbed. Now, why do you think he was robbed?
I think that what Harden did when his team, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they were in the 14th possible seed.
They started out slow.
Yeah, they started off really, really slow, and then Harden, I don't know what was going on, but I think he was injured maybe a little bit, and he came back, brought that poor team all the way back to a playoff spot, and that's way more impressive, especially in the Western Conference when Giannis with his Bucks had just basically didn't lock up the first seed, but they did eventually. They were just such a good team throughout the whole year. They didn't really have too many struggles, which that depends on each conference. But I think being able to carry your team, but I think carry is the right word, carry that team, which was just low performing, and I guess show a little bit of leadership, if even that, to bring that team out of the depths where they had no hopes that year, coming back from a terrible loss the previous year against the Golden State Warriors, possibility of going to the finals, taking that team and going all the way into the playoffs. I mean, even though they lost in the second round, I think that Harden, if it's based on the regular season, Harden should have won it.
Mm-hmm. So what is the most valuable player? I don't want to get into the semantics too much, but does it just mean best player?
I mean, overall, yeah, kind of, I would say.
Because, you can get in this argument about, who's the most valuable? Well, for example, if you took LeBron off the Lakers, would he be the most valuable player to that team? Is Anthony Davis more valuable to the Pelicans than Harden is to the Rockets? I don't think that's the question we're asking, is it? No, I think we're just saying who's the best player.
Yeah.
Should they just call it the best player?
I think so.
Larry Bird Memorial Best Player Award? Something like that? Okay. Yeah. So if you look at it that way, and you do have to give some credit for winning, I think, because losing teams shouldn't probably have an MVP, but who had the better supporting cast, you think? Giannis or Harden?
Giannis, 100% Giannis. That is
not
a good question.
Middleton, Brogdon.
Bledsoe.
Lopez.
Yeah, and then you had
Bledsoe,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty salty team. They can get after
already
you
that team, and then they have players off the bench coming off that were like Ilyasova and tough guys like that who just shoot the three. You thought that team was going to be unstoppable, and then they lost, which is kind of surprising. But
yeah, well, the Raptors had the experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get there and lose a few times. Get smacked by LeBron a few times, and then you're ready to climb the hill. Do you think that the MVP award is sort of like the best player who hasn't won this award yet?
No.
Like maybe they go, dang, we just gave it to Jordan 3 years in a row. Should we just let Karl Malone have one? Should we just let Giannis have one here?
There's been a pattern that is kind of developing that's happened over the years, and it's kind of like Harden last year won the MVP. This year he deserved it more, and then lost it. It was doesn't make sense to me. I mean, obviously Giannis is a super freak, but I mean
Giannis improved too, right?
Yeah.
Here's my thing: can Harden play any better than he did in the regular season?
insane. Like, what he did was absolutely insane. Like, that was superhuman. I think unbelievable. I think he can.
I don't think James Harden can ever play better than that. I think that is the pinnacle of Mount Harden.
Mm-hmm.
So when he looks at this and he goes, that's the best I can play. And that's the best that almost anybody can play.
Mm-hmm.
I just averaged 40 for a month, you know?
Yeah.
And then he goes, and I didn't get the MVP.
Mm.
Do you think James Harden on the inside is going, does the league have it out for me? Like, what's wrong? What's going on here? Do you think you think they did him wrong?
Yeah, I think that any player that was like top 3 in the MVP voting would be like, oh, I was snubbed. Obviously, because it's like, unless you're way too humble for that. But I mean, like, you know, I think any player would just think that, had the same mindset. You know, especially Harden, who's been through multiple years where it's like, last year when he won the MVP, it was one of his, you know, it was a great season, don't get me wrong, but it was like one of his kind of, Yeah, I mean, averaging 30, what am I saying? That's insane. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, one of the seasons where it was like, he was not at his greatest at times. You know, he wasn't like this season. And it was kind of just like, how did he win it last season but not this season?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why do you think people vote against Harden? And I have a theory, but why do you think they vote against him?
His play style. I mean, you know, that step back 3 is illegal. And it's just kind of like, or it should be illegal.
It is illegal, but yeah, they don't call it. Yeah.
And I think people are just like looking at him and it's like, oh, he's a ball hawk, right? You know, they just look at him and it's like, oh, you know, he wins games, but he's ball hogging. I mean, he has no one to pass to. Chris Paul is literally way past his prime, and he's kind of like, and dare I say this, triggering CP3 fans, but I mean, it's kind of like Rondo. You know, in honesty, he can pass. What else can he do?
He's got a little mid-range jumper from the free throw line that he really loves.
But I mean,
he's really loved that for a long time. But yeah, his supporting cast is not. Yeah, it's not all that great. Okay, well, I think we covered that. Harden got robbed. I think if you surveyed the players, even if you went and asked like, you know, Steph Curry or somebody right now, they'd go, yeah, man, 40 points a game or 36, whatever he averaged. Harden won it. So, all right, sorry, Rockets fans, but you got screwed.